Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're analyzing your research to really get into the nuts and bolts of a very complex idea.
We're taking on the law of attraction.
Specifically as it relates to wealth and, financial success. This is a topic that has captivated millions.
Mm-hmm. And confused millions, too. I mean, for so many people, the law of attraction, or LOA, it's just that book and film, The Secret.
Right.
And that was huge. It launched it into the mainstream, but it also, it popularized a very simple and I think often misleading idea of how it's all supposed to work.
Yeah, the cultural story basically boils down to wish hard enough and it'll happen.
Exactly.
But the source material we're looking at today makes it really, really clear that this is a discipline. It's a discipline of consciousness, not some kind of, passive wishing well.
That's the perfect way to put it. Our mission for this deep dive is to cut through all that confusion. We want to get to the operational truth of it.
Okay, so what is it really?
And what is it not? We're exploring the structured, pretty rigorous 4-step process that's required to actually implement it, especially when you're applying it to something like money.
Let's tackle that core misconception right away then.
Yeah.
The sources are very, very assertive about this. The LOA is not an enchantment.
Yeah.
It's not a potion, not a simple spell. It's not about, chanting affirmations into the void and expecting a check to just show up in the mail.
Yeah, if you come at it like it's magic, you're probably going to fail.
Yeah.
The text really emphasizes that. If it was just a matter of saying, begets, over and over.
The entire global economy would be in, utopian chaos?
Right. It would have collapsed a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, it requires specific actions, and this is the critical part, a total restructuring of how you think. Your internal thought process. Okay,
so that brings us to part one.
Yeah.
Really defining what this is. If you ask most people, you get that simple definition right.
Mm-hmm.
If you strongly believe something should happen, it will certainly happen.
And that's the starting point. But it's just so insufficient. It raises way more questions than it answers.
And that's why people get frustrated with it.
That's exactly why. They try that simple version, it doesn't work, and they just abandon it.
So this is where our sources give us that first real insight. They point out 3 major problems, these conflicts that completely undermine that simple belief.
Okay, so the first one is the challenge of desires versus fears.
Right.
If the law of attraction just responds to any strong thought, what happens when we think really strongly about things we don't want?
Which we all do.
All the time. If you spend all day intensely worrying about, say, a business venture failing, well, isn't that strong, focused thought just as powerful as thinking about success?
That's actually a pretty terrifying thought.
Yeah.
Because for most people, fear and worry,
yeah,
those are probably the most intense thoughts we have all day.
Precisely. And then the second challenge is internal conflict. We're almost never 100% committed to a single outcome. Yeah. You might be applying for a promotion, and you think, I could get this job, but then that little voice of doubt immediately pops in and says, but I might not get it.
So how does the universe or whatever resolve that perfect internal stalemate?
Exactly. And then the third one, the one that, critics always jump on, is external conflict.
2 people wanting the same thing.
Yes. You and a rival are both going for the exact same contract. Both of you are using LOA principles, thinking positively, strongly. Who wins?
Does the universe just pick the person who believed harder?
It seems a bit arbitrary, right? But the source material suggests that the answer to all of these conflicts is in understanding the real structure, the 4-part implementation process.
Okay, so it's a process designed to basically eliminate that conflict and the apprehension we were just talking about.
That's the idea.
So if the simple definition is a non-starter, let's get into the actual mechanism. What are these 4 critical elements? What's element 1?
Okay, element 1. We have to know exactly what we want with absolute total specificity.
So no, I want more money.
No. Ambiguity guarantees failure. Your consciousness. It can't manifest a hazy target. You have to define the exact amount, where it's coming from, what you'll do with it.
Okay. Crystal clear. Element 2.
We have to begin a dedicated thought process for it and vociferously ask the universe to make it happen. This isn't just quiet daydreaming. It's an active, a demanding request.
And element 3, this one seems like a big jump.
This is the big one. This is what separates it from just wishing.
Yeah.
We have to visualize a situation where we already have the thing we're hankering for, and we have to live in that reality.
So you're not visualizing the moment you get the money.
No.
You're visualizing what it feels like to just have it. The day-to-day reality of possessing that wealth.
And you have to act from that place of possession.
I feel like that's where most people fall down.
Right, okay.
We love visualizing the dramatic getting of the thing, right? Winning the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Not the quiet, confident reality of having the resources and just operating smoothly every day.
That is the psychological friction. But element 4 is probably the hardest hurdle of all. Okay.
We must not attach ourselves to what might happen. We must only think about having it and leave zero room for apprehension. No doubt, no worry.
But wait, how is that even possible? How does a person living in the real world maintain zero apprehension? It goes against every survival instinct we have.
The mechanism they suggest is it's about immediate internal correction. The text talks about developing this really intense self-monitoring system.
Like an alarm bell in your head.
Sort of. The moment a doubt enters your mind, the moment you think, I might not get that loan, you have to just vociferously override it. Right then and there.
With what? Affirmations?
Affirmations, mental rituals, whatever it takes to force the mind back into that reality of possession you built in element 3. It is a constant, disciplined effort.
Wow. So if you can actually do all that, if you can commit to those 4 steps, can you really become rich just by thinking about it?
Well, the source says the answer isn't in the visualization itself. It's in mastering the type of thinking required to sustain that certainty. Which brings us right to part 2. The huge distinction between objective and subjective thinking.
Exactly. If the law of attraction is all about thought process, we have to know the difference between how we normally think and this higher level that's required.
So let's start with objective thinking. That's our default mode, right? Every day.
It's our usual mode of operation. Objective thinking is basically seeing is believing.
Okay.
We exist, we see our bank account, we see the people around us, and whatever we see, that becomes real for us. The external world governs our internal thoughts.
So, I think my spouse is real because I can see them. I think my debt is real because I can see the bill on my table. The evidence dictates my reality.
That's it exactly. But to use the law of attraction, you have to shun that. You have to adopt what the source calls subjective thinking.
Which is the reverse. Believing is seeing.
Believing is seeing. With subjective thinking, we think something is real and therefore we see it. The external world is just a reflection of your sustained internal belief.
The sources give some pretty radical examples of this, right?
They do. Like your current job, your bank balance, they aren't fundamentally real. They only become solid reality because you firmly believe that they're happening.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe my job isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
How do I not just detach completely? Isn't there a huge risk of delusion? if I start ignoring objective facts?
That is the critical question, and the source material uses the dream analogy to explain it.
Okay.
So think about when you're dreaming. The dream self you see. That's not the real physical you.
No.
You are the frame of reference, the consciousness that's just witnessing it. You operate inside the dream, but you know deep down the events are just a manifestation of your mind.
So there's a separation. The objective facts of my life are the dream events, and I, the subjective thinker, and the conscious frame of reference.
Precisely. And just like in a dream, you can sometimes alter things by changing your perspective inside that reality.
Mm-hmm.
The implication is that by using subjective thought, you're the one in control. You can alter the dream of your current reality, the job, the money, because those things are only present in your consciousness. They're thoughts. And so theoretically, they're mutable.
That makes the philosophical jump a lot clearer. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about operating from a level above it where consciousness is in charge.
Let's ground this for a second. Before we get back to wealth, think about, say, chronic fatigue.
Okay.
The objective default thinking is, I'm always tired, I see the fatigue, I feel it, therefore it's real.
Right.
The low A approach says you have to shun that objective evidence. You have to start intensely believing I am vibrant and energetic.
And by holding that subjective thought, you'd start moving through your day with an expectation of energy.
Which then forces new behavior.
Mm.
You might actually go for a walk or choose a healthier meal because you're behaving like an energetic person. The belief changes the behavior, which then creates new, positive, objective circumstances.
Okay, this shift in thought. This is the core of part 3. Stopping these default processes from ruling your life.
Default processes are those automatic, objective reactions. It's when we hit a wall and we immediately give up control.
This is beyond me. I can't do anything about it.
Yes. Every single time we accept that a situation is unchangeable, we're just reinforcing that objective thinking. We're letting the dream rule us.
So the subjective way, the low A way, is to think as if we rule the circumstances.
Yes, that we can create situations that are conducive to our development no matter what the objective evidence looks like right now. It's about recognizing that the circumstances are in our hands as long as we switch that frame of reference from outside in to inside out.
So let's apply this directly to finance, to the big stuff. The source uses the example of a paucity of funds, a lack of money.
Right. A financial problem is threatening a really promising project.
The objective default response is panic.
Immediate panic. The person sees the low bank balance, sees the deadline, and concludes the whole thing is going nowhere. They bail out.
And in doing so, they confirm their negative reality. The situation has ruled them.
But the subjective believer who's armed with those 4 elements has a totally different cognitive process. They see the financial problem as just being in the objective frame of reference. It's the dream they're about to change.
So no panic.
No worry. Instead, they activate element 4, intense belief. They think intensely about having the money. They visualize the situation where the funds are already there.
And this intense thought process has to lead to action.
It leads to a corresponding action, yes. Because they believe the money will be theirs, they behave as though they already have it.
That's the key behavior.
It is. So if they need capital, the example is they go to apply for a loan. They walk into that bank with incredible confidence.
Because in their mind, they've already done element 3. They're living in the reality of having the funds. There's no desperation.
No anxiety at all. And this is the magic bridge. That supreme confidence works to their advantage in the objective world.
The loan officer, the external reality.
Exactly. The loan officer gets the impression that this person is a sound bet, someone who can earn and pay them back. The applicant's subjective belief manifests an objective reality where they are seen as a person of merit.
So the low way isn't about money, just poof, appearing in your account.
No, it's about using intense subjective thought to change your internal reality so completely that it overrides your external default processes. It changes your behavior, and it creates the confident actions that are necessary for success.
Believers make things happen because they intensely believe they are the center of it all and have full control. It's the ultimate expression of consciousness steering circumstance.
It is, and it requires a massive amount of discipline and effort.
Okay, to quickly recap the journey we just took. Implementing the law of attraction means you have to get past that simple definition.
Mm-hmm.
You commit to those 4 rigorous steps, knowing exactly what you want, asking, visualizing having it, and then shunning all apprehension through disciplined thought.
But the real engine here is that shift from objective certainty, seeing the bill makes the debt real, to subjective belief, where believing in the outcome makes the action possible.
Which allows you to override those fear-based defaults that tell you a situation is beyond your control.
Right. And when you apply that intense belief, you move with genuine confidence, like we saw in the loan example. You literally create the circumstances for the objective world to fall in line with your internal reality.
This whole discussion really rests on one profound idea.
That our reality is just a pliable manifestation of the thoughts we hold in our consciousness.
Right.
And if you really take that premise, the one that's required to make low A work, if you take it to its natural conclusion, it raises a really profound question for you, the listener.
Okay.
What seemingly unalterable circumstance in your life, financial or otherwise, might just begin to change if you could successfully shift your thought process entirely? Moving from the objective certainty that it exists to the subjective belief that it's immediately mutable.
Think about that framework. The reality, maybe just waiting for a change in consciousness. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the actionable mechanics of the law of attraction.
We'll see you next time.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, 1 vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.